Hello, good morning, and welcome to the AM Sports with me, Oriku Ompofo. And as usual, the Black Stars are in action today, and we'll be looking at some extensive analysis on what it would take for Ghana, especially facing a Zimbabwe side who would be looking to take points off the Black Stars, according to their coach. But after their World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe at the Cape Coast Stadium, the Black Stars have safely arrived in Harare, the capital of Zimbabwe, for the second leg of the doubleheader. Ghana is currently second in Group G, just a point behind South Africa. And tomorrow's game, and that's today's game actually, has taken a must-win complexion for the Black Stars. Now, once they've settled in Harare, Ghana's ambassador to Zimbabwe, that's Alexander Intrakwa, charged the side to get the 3 points before the Stars, left on Sunday night. Head coach, that's Milovan Rajevac, also reminded his players that they have their destiny in their own hands if they are to make it to Qatar. Now, this rallying cry becomes key because South Africa could extend their lead at the top of the group by close of the day. Ahead of the game, let's do some analysis, and joining me on Zoom, Lawrence Mangenje, and he's a sports journalist with Soccer 24 in Zimbabwe, and then in Share FM's Bismarck Owusu Bempa. He's also a sports journalist, and both of them join me via Zoom. It's a pleasure to have you, gentlemen. We met here again just some few days ago to look at the preview of this big game. We've seen the first fixture between the two sides. Let me start with you, Lawrence. What are some key takeaways from that match, and did anything you saw in that game give you confidence that Zimbabwe could pull a result today? Lawrence, can you hear me? Okay, I think you're struggling with Lawrence. But let me start with you, Owusu Bempa. What a start for Milovan Rajevac. 3 goals, conceding just 1. 3 very crucial points. What were your overall impressions of the game?
Look, I think I was impressed, and a lot of Ghanaians were. Yes, there's still room for improvement, but you could see what we wanted to see as Ghanaians: their hunger, the freedom to play, the new look of the Black Stars, progressive football, a team that had a structure, a team that had clear ideas how to develop what they had to develop and everything. So it was a very, very impressive start from Coach Milovan Rajevac. I think one of the few most important things that has impacted conversations will be giving the opportunity to youngsters like Fatah Issahaku, how Kudus Mohammed has taken center stage of this Black Stars team, how Kamaruddin Suleiman was deployed on the left-hand side and giving the freedom to impact the Ghanaian game. So these were the few talking points that ushered us into the conversations about how well Milovan Rajevac has started as a Black Stars coach. And I think today we are expecting more from him in terms of his tactical discipline, in terms of how you siege the Harare Stadium and make sure we get a maximum 3 points from Zimbabwe today.
Thank you, Bismarck. But let me come back to you, Lawrence, and hopefully your network is much better now. I was asking whether, per anything that you saw on Saturday from Zimbabwe, you would have taken some confidence from that game, suggesting that perhaps with what you saw, the Warriors have what it takes to at least pull some points off the Black Stars this afternoon.
Well, I didn't think they did enough to actually impose themselves on the game to any result in the game on Saturday. They were nowhere near what they're capable of in the first half. They were only revived by that penalty, of which they only dominated proceedings for 10 to 15 minutes. But I actually didn't think they did enough to actually get a point or so in the game in Cape Coast. Well, about today's game, let's see how it pans out. But perhaps the best they can get is a draw. Not actually that they can actually upset the Black Stars here in Harare, considering how they played on Saturday.
Let me come to you, Bismarck. We spoke about Ghana's goal-scoring issues heading into that game. We saw 3 different goal scorers against Zimbabwe. Is that the way forward for the Black Stars, especially for a coach like Milo, who doesn't have a proven goal scorer as at the moment?
Yes, we talk about a shared responsibility when it comes to goals, and I was very, very pleased to find players like Kudus, Thomas Partey, Andre Ayew on the score sheet for Ghana. I think these are the ready-made names in terms of sharing goals responsibility. Kamaldeen Suleiman was very, very unlucky for his goal to be cancelled by an offside call, which after replay we saw wasn't an offside. So it is the best way to go. We don't have a proven striker in our team right now, so the goal scoring must be a shared responsibility. I think what is lacking now is for our defenders, and when I talk about defenders, I mean the centre backs, those who have height like Amate, like Jiku, Jonathan Menster, to add up to the goal scoring responsibility when it comes to set pieces like corner kicks, free kicks, because that is what we need to get us going now. We need to be scoring the goals and grinding the results and getting the 3 points. And I think without a player like Asamoah, we will need everyone on board to take advantage of the chances and be clinical with it.
Lawrence, let me come back to you. Zimbabwe welcome one of your key players, that's Kama Bilia today. What is the extent of the impact that you suspect he could add or make in this team?
Well, to be very honest with you, I doubt if he can actually make his return will make much big of a difference. You know, he hasn't scored for Zimbabwe in over a year. Of course, it's a boost heading into an important game like this, but not much is expected of him. He hasn't scored for Zimbabwe in the last year, if I'm not mistaken. He is an excellent player, but let's just see how it pans out. He trained with the rest of his teammates yesterday. Of course, the Warriors lacked the cutting edge. They lack that creativity in terms of going forward. And perhaps his return can actually propel them to actually get goals. But in my own personal opinion, and with both due respect to the technical team and the player himself, he just hasn't been himself in terms of like scoring goals and getting assists for the national team. One can even have to dig deep in the history books to actually see the last time he scored for the national team. He's a very important player, but he just hasn't been himself. And perhaps with the coming in of Norman Mapeza, he can bring in the best out of him, and perhaps something can happen today.
And let me still stay with you, Lawrence. With regards to the Blacks, the Zimbabwe team, you saw the team train yesterday. Were there any key things that you picked up in terms of fitness issues and availability?
Well, they looked very sharp in terms of how they trained. You know, they were practicing shooting and all. They were, you know, they were jovial. You know, you could actually see that you are dealing with a confident team ahead of a big game. They looked sharp. They were just, you know, they looked prepared for an important game. And even Jonathan Mensah mentioned during the press conference that it is a very, very important game. He thanked the Zimbabwean people for the hospitality and all, but he was simply saying now it's time to get to the real business. And they actually were preparing well for the team based on what I saw.
And let me still stay with you there. And you look at the Zimbabwe team, and anything but a win today essentially ends the hopes of qualification to the World Cup. Is that pressure that you think would bring the best out of the players, or you think that's pressure that could influence them negatively?
Well, I think that that pressure can actually motivate them in a way, because if they actually win, you know, anything can happen. If they win today, they will be on 4 points, right? Or if by any chance Ethiopia beats South Africa, not necessarily that the group will be wide open, not necessarily that they're still having some realistic chances of qualifying to the World Cup, but it will just restore their mojo, you know. And also, they would want to do South Africa a favor. You know, South Africa and Zimbabwe are rivals, you understand? So them losing to Ghana means South Africa benefit. So no one wants that at the moment.
That's an interesting one. Now, let me come back to you, Bismarck. There's an issue concerning the team that Milovan Rajevac put out, especially because of where Andre Ayew was deployed in the first half in central midfield alongside Thomas Partey. And then later on in the game, we saw Fatal Isaku being withdrawn for Idrisu Baba, who came out there to kind of free Thomas Partey to get some liberty to go forward as well. And we saw the effect of that with the Arsenal midfielder scoring. Now, that essentially presents us with two different sides of Thomas Partey. In your opinion, Bismarck, what do you think is the best position for Partey? We've seen him play in advanced roles in his early years in the Black Stars. Now he's played in a deeper role. And against Zimbabwe, he played in a number 8 role. Where do you think is his best position?
I think the Partey puzzle has to do with the issue of David Alaba or Alexander Zinchenko. Yes, at club level at Arsenal, you see him really deep in the midfield with Granit Xhaka or any other player he partners with. But when it comes to the Black Stars, he's one of our creative players, one of our very, very confident players, one of the players that impose fear to our opponents. I think the best we've seen Partey play is when he's in that free role. He doesn't have to think a lot about the balance of the team, where he gets to go forward and affect and attack the spaces in our final third. I think that has been the best we've seen Partey play. And just as you rightly put it, immediately Baba Idisu came onto the pitch. He knew the Mayoka midfielder is very, very confident and very, very good when it comes to the DM role. He will tackle the ball for him. He will break the play for him. He then realized that he had the freedom to move within the offensive spaces. And he got us the goal that shoot out again into the lead. And I think, for me, that is the best Partey could offer the Black Stars. In an advanced role, not thinking about the balance of the team so much, with a lot of freedom in his mind to affect and attack the spaces beyond the DM of the opponent. And that is where we've gotten the best out of him. So I'm expecting in the game against Zimbabwe, Milovan Rajovac getting it right from the onset, playing Idrisu Baba because it's an away game that the Zimbabwe will need to win at all costs. So they will come in at us with the inclusion of Kama Billiards. So we need a proper DM who knows how to break play, who knows how to tackle, who have the sense and the instinct to make sure the team has a very, very good balance. And that is what Baba Idisu is going to offer us. Another concern that I saw in the game here was playing Daniel Amate at right back and making sure when we have the ball, Baba Rahman joins the attack so that he comes in alongside Jonathan and Ziku to have a 3-back system. And you could see the direct transitional passes from Zimbabwe as soon as they win the ball into the Amate space at the right lateral spaces. I think with Kamabiliat on the pitch, it offers such a creative player, such a player with a lot of movement that threats to that Ghanaian structure defensively when we have the ball. So Milova must be very, very careful with that too, and make sure we don't suffer for it. So these are the things that I'm expecting some level of improvement with that. A solid Ghanaian team with a solid balance that is able to cater for any threat of Zimbabwe as they play at home. And a team that has a more freedom to players like Thomas Partey, Andre Ayew, hovering around the offensive areas and making sure they pounce and get us 1 goal, 2 goals that will make us relax our muscles and see the game through for maximum 3 points from Harare.
And still on Thomas Partey and his best position for the Black Stars. Let's hear from the man himself.
I think it's the decision of the coach. He knows where every player on the pitch can play. We started with me behind because we have a lot of talent ahead who can score goals, and I think as time goes on, we see that they get tired, and that's when the coach made a second change for Baba to come in, and then I push forward.
Of course, we'll be doing this discussion without you at home, so the phone lines would be open quite shortly for you to share your opinion on the topics discussed as well, what you think Thomas Partey's best position is, and what you do foresee the results to be today as Ghana faces Zimbabwe in Harare. But let me come back to you, gentlemen. Lawrence, this prediction time, where do you see this game being won or lost today?
Well, as usual, the game will be won in midfield as to who actually gets better in terms of how the midfield ticks. Whether Thomas Partey will come to the party, that remains to be seen. But whoever gets the midfield ticking, I think Zimbabwe have got a huge problem in as far as Marshall Munetsi is concerned. You know, Marshall Munetsi is one of the key players. He is a rock in that Warriors team, but he is doubtful for the game. He was limping yesterday in training. He clearly looked unfit. So his absence is going to make a very big difference as far as how the midfield goes. So I actually think, despite Kama Billet coming back, losing Marshall Munetz is actually a blow for the Warriors. That is if he turns out not to play. So I think the game, like I said, it will be won in midfield. If anyone has a better midfield, they've got a better chance of winning the game.
All right, and Bismarck, let me come to you. Your overall thoughts on the game this afternoon and what you think the Black Stars have to do to ensure that they pick a second consecutive victory against the Warriors. Bismarck, can you hear me?
It should look better. But yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, you can answer now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying, yes, I was saying it's a shame. I saw the pitch in Zimbabwe and it looked better than what we played on at the Cape Coast Stadium. And that, for me, offers the Black Stars an opportunity to play exquisite football. I think the game will be won where Kamaradin Suleiman will be on a very, very good pitch, direct to him in terms of the passes and how quick we can start our transition. We should be able to cause a lot of problems in lateral areas for the Zimbabwean team today. So it's about soaking the pressure, making sure we have a very, very good balance. The idea of not conceding in Harare is very, very important. And being clinical in front of goal. And I see us having the firepower today to just kill the game off. A 1-0 victory, a 2-0 victory will be very, very good for us. I think we need to keep a clean sheet and we need to score.
We do have Ronaldo Jr. joining us on the phone lines. Ronaldo, it's a pleasure to have you. What are your overall thoughts on the Black Stars' performance on Saturday, and where do you see this game going today?
All right, thank you so much, Ronaldo. You could realize that that was on Saturday. I said I see the Black Stars winning by 2-goal margin. I don't know whether you can still remember.
Yeah.
I
remember.
I think this time around, going to Harare and then you realizing that this is the last chance for Zimbabwe, I think it's going to be quite tighter than what we saw. So I think definitely Zimbabwe may also be on the score sheet again, but I'm looking at a 2-1 victory for the Black Stars because it's going to be tough. But one thing that I want to comment on is the dilemma concerning the Ayo and then the Idris Baba issue. I think that the best for Ghana should be for Idris Baba to be in the game. But I also think Andrew is also very important to this team. And the other guy, Partey Ishaku, I have been taking my time to applaud the guy. You realize that in the first half, the guy was very, very dangerous from the right side of the pitch. He was taking on players by heart. And you saw one attempt he tried to shoot. We all know how deadly he can be shooting from range. And he tried it and he split. I think the guy also needs to get time to play today. Maybe whether he coming from the bench, but he needs to also come early. But Idris Baba should be deployed in the central midfield so that Thomas Partey will have the freedom to roam around. I see the Black Stars winning by 2 goals to 1. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ronaldo Jr. Let me go to Abdullahi from Pusiga. Abdullahi, what were your thoughts on the first match between Ghana and Zimbabwe, and how do you see this game going today?
Yeah, for me, I watched the last match on Saturday in Ghana here keenly on my television, and I see today that holding Partey playing for Ghana, holding him as the defensive midfielder is very, very crucial. And more to the point, he helps the defenders and he can also play in front. And I also thought of Partey Ishaku. And Partey Ishaku is a very good, young, talented player. And he can release the ball, he can shoot the ball at far and score. We can see him under CAF under 20 African Cup, and who he scored about he's almost the best player. Yeah, he's the best player in that particular region. I think he's a nice player, which the coach have to use him with Kudus Mohammed in front there, and Jordan Ayew coming up ahead of his brother Dede Ayew for the match.
Thank you very much.
Ghana two.
Okay, let's now head to Peter. Peter, what do you think is going to happen today? Are you confident of a Black Stars win? I think we lost Peter there, but let me come back to you, Lawrence. Bismarck mentioned the quality of the pitch in Zimbabwe. We know that there's been some off-the-pitch issues concerning the Zimbabwean team, especially when they came to Ghana, and the coach wasn't too happy about the pitch that they used to train and all that. Can you touch on that? And also concerning your return to Zimbabwe from Ghana, can you explain how come Ghana got to Zimbabwe before the Zimbabwe team?
What happened is that the Black Stars used a chartered plane to come to Zimbabwe. So they flew straight from Accra straight to Harare. Unlike the Zimbabwe national team Warriors, they used the commercial flight. They had to connect via Addis Ababa, then Johannesburg, then Harare. So the journey was long. It was a very bizarre situation, that the visitors would come back it would arrive in the country like first. The Warriors actually arrived over 8 hours after the Black Stars arrived. They arrived at around midnight, around midday, and they only had a few hours to rest, probably about 3 hours. Then they went to train at the National Sports Stadium. Unlike the Black Stars arrived in Harare at 2200 hours. They slept at Rainbow Towers Hotel, and then they rested, and then they went for their training session in the afternoon. So it was a case of what we were told, no affording a charter plane, they'd use a commercial flight. That is why they delayed their journey from Accra.
All right, thank you very much, Lawrence. And I think we can pick some more phone calls before we wrap up. But let's quickly take a look at what Milovan Rajevac and Jonathan Mensah have been saying ahead of this crunch tie today.
Ali nadamo se da dobrom ishodu.
As you all well know, this is a very important match for us. We expect a tough match. We respect the team we are playing against, and we have a clear target. We want to qualify for the World Cup, so we are going to do everything in our power to put the good performance and try to win this match. For us, it's a very important match, as you said, and we have our target, and we know it's not going to be easy. The first match was also not easy. Definitely, at some part of the match, Zimbabwe showed they have the quality, and in the beginning of the second half, definitely we were facing some difficulties, which shows that there is no easy match, and it's definitely important to be concentrated throughout the match to try to prepare the good game plan and to react.
Whenever I'm called upon to, start the game, I'm always going to do my best to help the team win. So I just need to go out there if I'm playing and do my best for the team.
Well, that's how we'll be wrapping up today's, special edition of AM Sports, as we did preview the big match between the Black Stars and Zimbabwe. Remember, Ghana currently sits on 6 points in Group G, and a win would take them closer. Of course, South Africa would also be in action against Ethiopia. So I'll be bringing you updates and all of these, as well as commentary of the game between Ghana and Zimbabwe in Harare on Joy FM. Remember, the game starts at 1 p.m., so do make sure to tune in. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and the AM show continues right after this break.